Mr. Lovely, good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight. New Finance Minister SITUMBEKO MUSOKOTWANE to cheapen US dollar on the Zambian market. Refugees living in CHIBOLYA compound call for repatriation. Over 35 parliamentary election petitions filed in the LUSAKA High Court. And in international news, the people smuggling business on the rise despite obvious dangers in Tunisia. And in sports news, 20,000 fans to attend Zambia vs Tunisia World Cup qualifier.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN 096 296 5883. For Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
Hello once again, the news in detail. The Lusaka City Council has expressed displeasure over the alleged harassment of poll staff by some losing candidates and their supporters during the ballot paper reconciliation exercise being undertaken at Civic Centre's Nakatindi Hall on Thursday, the 26th of August 2021. Speaking in a statement made available to Camnet TV, LCC Public Relations Manager Mwaka Nakweti has clarified the assertions that the post staff were altering figures on the Gen 20 forms, which are the announcement of results forms, saying the allegations are false and malicious. Ms. Nakweti has underscored that no one can amend Gen 20 because they were in the public domain and stuck at all polling stations as well as verified by all stakeholders. She adds that the process is being done with various electoral stakeholders present, following a notice dated the 16th of August 2021, inviting them to witness the reconciliation of ballot papers. Ms. Nakweti has since urged the losing candidates to exercise patience and wait for the due process to take its course. Some refugees that have lived in Zambia under bad conditions have called on the United Nations High Commission for Refugees to have them repatriated to their countries of origin. In an interview with Camnet TV, some of the refugees residing in Lusaka's CHIBOLYA compound say that they have been making the repatriation call for years but to no avail. Meanwhile, UNHCR Protection Officer Leah Owambo has called for patience among the refugees, stating that people who are of priority at the moment are those that are extremely vulnerable, stating that the process of resettlement has been further slowed down by the coming of the coronavirus. More in this report.
She is one of the many refugees in the country who have fled from their nations due to war. Mpwekelani Mwanza, 75, came to Zambia from the Democratic Republic of Congo in 1993 and has been trying to get resettled in a state country since then. Ms. Mwanza narrates to Camnet News that her family of 3 is struggling to have decent meals as they are living in dire poverty. She also explains that her children do not attend school, which is making her worried for their future.
Genzi medai Moses medai amesi yozula nyafu chiapa nyafu sikwanisha kufika pamanzi yake
so ekasira bakuja matenga kuti According to 2021 data from the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR, an average of 600 refugees come into Zambia per month, with the majority of them being from Congo DRC. The country also has refugees from other countries like Somalia, who have also narrated the same challenges. UNHCR Protection Officer Ms. Leah Uwambo, speaking to Camnet News, states that the high number of refugees and the limited number of state countries is what is causing delays in resettlement for them. Ms. Uwambo explains that Zambia currently has about 101,000 refugees.
And this depends on the requests that we have from these countries. Now, to be able to get access to resettlement, we usually work with the different criteria as we've been given by these countries of resettlement. It is not just at the privy of UNHCR, but UNHCR works with different partners, that is the government, other partners, and this is done through a panel of protection that decides on who is the most vulnerable. Issues of health, like for instance, persons who have medical conditions that cannot be handled here in Zambia. We also have people who have other issues that make them not be able to integrate into the society or be able to work and continue to earn a living and achieve a certain level of reliance.
The UNHCR Protection Officer, however, states that while it is not possible to have them all resettled, efforts to empower them through methods like agriculture are being made. For now, it seems these refugees will have to wait, as the Commission also explains that the process of resettlement has further been slowed down by the coming of the coronavirus. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Newly appointed Minister of Finance, SITUMBEKO MUSOKOTWANE, has charged that his government will ensure that it depreciates the United States dollar on the Zambian market through the investment policies it has planned to put in place. Speaking at a media briefing shortly after being sworn in as a new finance minister, Mr. MUSOKOTWANE says government resources have been wasted by the former administration, limiting government's capacity to employ more people as well as increase salaries for civil servants. He says his government will ensure that no resources go to waste by limiting unnecessary trips and workshops in the civil service. Details in the following report.
The Zambian economy has been poorly performing over the past few years, and the United Party for National Development (UPND) has been described as a new hope that will liberate the Zambian economy. With so much expectation from the Zambian people, pressure has been mounting on the head of state with regard to when he intends to announce his new cabinet. To that end, President Hakainde Hichilema has appointed SITUMBEKO MUSOKOTWANE as the new finance minister commencing Friday, 27th August 2021. And speaking shortly after his appointment, Mr. MUSOKOTWANE has assured that his administration will ensure that the US dollar depreciates on the Zambian market.
And you'll be amazed how much foreign exchange this country is going to make this price of gold. You will not know what to do with the dollars that this country will be receiving. Our problem may just be the dollar becoming too cheap as we drive this process. We are going to make sure that there is value addition.
Among many other promises, Mr. MUSOKOTWANE is confident that his government will revive the mining sector in order to increase forex in the country.
We will push hard to make sure that our mining sector expands. The mining output has been stuck for the last 10 years at about 800,000 metric tons of copper per year. We are going to push aggressively so that mining output in the next 10 years comes to something like 3 million tons. By the end of this current mandate, we want to push mining output to something close to 2 million tons from 800,000.
And while the former government had in 2020 contracted the foreign financial advisor Lazard Farrell at a cost of $5 million to restructure the debt situation, the debt has not improved but only worsened over time. And Mr. MUSOKOTWANE, when asked if his government will continue to engage the foreign advisor on the debt restructuring, the minister had this to say.
We will look at the situation. We said it without total information. we'll look at the situation. If our fears then are confirmed, then of course it takes a different route. But if we feel there might be some value, who knows? So we'll look at the situation, make a recommendation to the President, then we agree on the way forward.
And the Finance Minister also assured that he will continue to engage with the IMF to ensure that a consensus is reached by September of 2021. Among other things, jobs, new companies, new investment and more resources in the economy have been promised by the government. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Bureau of Forensics Zambia founder Wilson Kalembe has challenged former Minister of Water Development Raphael Nakachinda to stop behaving like a Pharisee by demanding that the new government fixes the economy in 100 days. Mr. Kalembe says the Patriotic Front government messed up the economy in almost 2 decades. He says Mr. Nakachinda must instead use his binoculars on fraudulent activities such as the 42 fire tenders, the 48 houses and ambulances quoted at high prices, and on fake medicines. And Mr. Kalembe has challenged former Minister of Home Affairs Stephen Kampyongo to remain quiet as the economic damage done by the PF is unimaginable.
Binoculars and concentrate on productive issues. It is you and your tandem of thieves in the PF that destroyed this economy. And HH is not an angel. He has promised the Zambian people that he's going to fix the economy. And the fixing of this economy will not take few days or even years. Because the damage you caused to this economy is so huge. I don't want to go into details. Leave HH to do his work. Your time was given to you and you messed it up. So just keep quiet. Let the UPND execute their manifesto. There's nothing wrong to provide checks and balances, but I think you must be the least person, the last person to start training the UPND. Looking at how damaging you have been to the economy, the thefts that have been taking place under the PF government, in which you are part of it. So there is no logic for you to start now training the UPND.
The National Action for Quality Education in Zambia, NACEZ, has expressed disappointment at some individuals who are busy calling for free secondary education from the new government. NACEZ Executive Director Aaron Chansa says such demands are premature, unreasonable and lacking any social, moral, economic and political footing. Mr. Chansa says free education is achievable and that the new administration should be given clear space to make obvious and necessary adjustments to create room for free education. He has since appealed to parents to ignore any uncharacteristic voice over free education but gain more patience and continue supporting education by paying school fees.
Very disappointed with the utterances by Mr. Raphael Nakachinda, to the extent that the gentleman is demanding for free education from the new government. We find these demands unrealistic and unreasonable, and also something that should be ignored, especially by the parents. We hear is advising parents not to pay school fees. This is regrettable, and we would want to advise our parents to ignore this. Our view is that we need to give space to our new government. It's just barely 3 days. Planning for free education is not easy. A lot of adjustments must be done, and our plea with our parents is to continue supporting education by paying school fees until such a time when our government will be ready, adequately prepared to support free education. We strongly believe that free education is achievable only if our government plans better, budgets better, and also puts education as a priority.
A social scientist, Innocent Kolala, has called on the UPND government to amend the Public Order Act to address the shrinking civic space. Mr. Kolala says this is in view of enhancing rights to freedoms of association and assembly, especially amongst political parties and rights activists. He adds that the government must adopt the Bill of Rights. Patrick Soko reports.
In Zambia, the Public Order Act has been known to be a bad law. This is because it has always been used against opposition political parties, and the just-ended election was no exception, and the current head of state, Hakainde Hichilema, and other candidates endured the humiliation of being treated like foreigners in their own country.
I'm already a prisoner here, so let's go. You escort us where we are going, because I don't know where I'm going. The locals know where I'm going.
But have we agreed on the number of vehicles that you are going to use?
Why?
That is where the problem is.
But I detest anyone trying to threaten a fellow citizen. You have no right to threaten me. So I am saying, we are very few. How many vehicles do we need?
No, we are agreeing. That's why.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we go where we are going.
We are agreeing.
But
so
where we are going,
yes.
Let me put it this way. Where we are going, we feel insecure from rogue policemen. So we need security ourselves, not your security. If you give us security, we appreciate.
Several attempts to amend the law in the past have not yielded desired results on the basis that the process must protect the content and of course other ill intentions by the ruling party. Now that the United Party for National Development is in government, social scientist Innocent Kolala calls for amendments.
The UPND government in opposition, what they were fighting for, in ensuring that the Public Order Act is quickly revised to the best interest of the Zambian people, that bill be brought in Parliament and be discussed as quickly as possible to give it power. And Mr. Kolala says in order to steer human rights promotion in the country, there is a need to adopt the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights also needs to be talked about because these are some of the issues which even His Excellency in his inaugural speech he talked about, of ensuring that the Zambian people be given the right to express their freedom, especially with the media. Let the media be as it is in the fourth state, to ensuring that they continue advising you who are in the government. They continue bringing out some of the salient issues which you need to work on for the best interest of the country, as unlike what used to happen in the previous, where you found that those who were in the media industry, whenever they talked something to the contrary of the ruling government, they were painted black. Undoubtedly, progress cannot be attained overnight, but for now, we can wait and see as events unfold within the 5-year tenure. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Zambia Institute of Architects has called on government to review public-private partnership procurement models and systematic scrutiny of government-to-government bilateral construction projects that have secluded participation of local consultants. Institute President Architect Walia Masabo says this is in order for the country to build capacity among the local consultants through the transfer of skills and guarantee the right value of public money invested on the projects. Mr. Masabo says government's drive for economic growth coupled with local private sector investment will inevitably result in an increase in demand for property. Mr. Masabo says it is for this reason that government should ensure prudence in procurement of works and services in the sector by engaging professional bodies which are ready to offer sound guidance on matters of national development for the betterment of the building environment in the country.
The sector can develop and be more organized. The Institute calls also for the review of the public and private partnership models of procurement, as we've noted that they have a weak control in terms of cost and quality. And additionally, we also implore the government to systematically scrutinize the government-to-government bilateral construction projects that have a tendency of secluding local participation. As a result, local consultants miss out on technological and skill transfer. And as a government that is trying to promote the growth of the local sector, I think this is critical. Additionally, the new Dawn government's drive for economic growth will ensure or stimulate a lot of property development. As such, there will be a lot of demand.
The Civil Society for Poverty Reduction, CSPR, has observed with concern that a number of social issues were not fully covered by most political players in their respective agendas. CSPR Programs Manager Edward Musosa says the previous elections provided an opportunity for issues such as poverty reduction, human rights and vulnerability to be thoroughly covered, and which are key issues and basis for elections. He has further explained that inasmuch as boosting the economy is and can be achieved, it does not guarantee poverty reduction for the Zambian people. Mr. Musosa has since echoed the need for government to take proactive measures that shall improve the lives of the ordinary citizens. Meanwhile, he has commended all key stakeholders in the just ended elections, saying the cooperation and unity demonstrated sets an example for other countries in the region to emulate.
Missed an opportunity during these past elections to ensure that we brought this to the fore so that we can inform the agenda of the political players post-election. For example, if you look at the issues of debt, yes, they do take precedence, especially issues to do with economic recovery. But what is economic recovery if it's not inclusive, but if it also does not respond to the needs, especially needs to do with child poverty in this country? So you can grow an economy, but if people are very poor, it will be difficult for us to sustain that. So it is a point of reflection, especially for us as a civil society organization, and we'll continue engaging all the political actors who are part of the electoral process in Zambia to sit with that. How do we make our elections more issue-based, making them much more child-sensitive, but also making them much more responsive to the needs of people living with disabilities? Because even when you look at the outcome in terms of the results, we are also disappointed that we didn't have as many people living with disabilities being elected into whichever office and position.
The Economic Freedom Fighters Party, EFF, has called for the formulation of policies that are responsive to the needs of the people. EFF Party President Kasonde Mwenda says there is need to move away from partisan politics and ensure that real development is delivered to the people. He has therefore called for various development projects to be put in place, such as empowering people in rural areas, noting that there is vast potential for agriculture activities there, which will enable them to live a meaningful livelihood. We have more in this report.
As each year draws the country closer to 2030, when Zambia aspires to become a prosperous middle-income country, chances of achieving this seem to be growing dimmer due to unbalanced development in the country. While most urban areas have meaningful economic activities, most rural areas do not. Economic Freedom Fighters Party President Mr. Kasonde Mwenda has implored the United Party for National Development UPND government to prioritize empowering people in rural areas, stating that there is more than enough room for the expansion of agriculture activities, which will enable people in these areas to live a meaningful life.
The people of Zambia should have a government that will have serious interest in the welfare, in their living standards. There's a lot of potential, especially in the rural areas, where people can venture into agriculture and have a meaningful livelihood. There's a need to have policies that are centered on the ministry, because this government does have structures that should be followed. It should never again be infiltrated by partisan politics. So I would advise the new government to take keen interest, have cooperatives that deliver to the people, not those that just make people steal over them.
Mr. Mwenda also states that empowerment schemes that will be put up should be given to deserving but vulnerable people, such as small-scale miners in the country.
We have got also a lot of mining potential at the moment. There are small-scale farmers. Some are even dying in the bush. Those are the people that should be empowered. Those people are already doing something, not the kind of empowerments we've been having that have been centered around politics. There's need to do a serious evaluation and put the resources where it requires to be. Zambia is a mining giant. Almost anywhere you step, we have some minerals of good value. We have got a lot of cobalt. We have seen what's happening in Kasenseli, we have been happening in Mumba, we've seen what's happening in Chipata. There is so much gold, but there is no serious framework in which those small-scale farmers can be empowered. We would ask that those frameworks are put in place, and the people that have got the passion and desire are equipped with something. They shouldn't be doing mining like Valeri Makandolo, you know. those people have got the capacity to turn around our economy. These same people that we look down on, we don't have to always be rushing for investors. The people that we have got the capacity, have got the ability. Already they are mining, but mining is capital intensive. But small scale mining is even, that's how China developed. They invested in their local ordinary people.
He has also called for facilities such as hospitals, water and electricity to be taken to all areas across the country in order to decongest urban areas, which he says are currently overpopulated. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The National Democratic Party Media Director Emmanuel Malite has charged that there is only one NDC party under the leadership of Joseph Akafumba. Mr. Malite explains that the party, which went into an alliance with the UPND, is intact, urging all members of the party that have left with then leader Chimbakambweli to come back and work for the good of the people. Meanwhile, parliamentary and council chairperson candidates for the just-ended elections have pledged to work with the party in strengthening it. Currently, the NDC is still mired in confusion with two camps, that of Saboy Imboela and Joseph Akafumba.
That Madam Savoy, I printed this. This was a printout that I did yesterday. President Akafumba still holds as vice president, registered vice president. NDC at Registrar of Society, it still has most senior as member is President Akafumba, having an office of vice president. Printed yesterday on the 26th of August. Now, where is she claiming her presidency? Because everyone now that she misled and Bakambwili, where she misled Bakambwili, they have all run away. They have all run away. They say, no, we are being misled. We were misled now. We are going to go into PF. We are going to do what we are going to do. They were all misled. You cannot continue misleading people. Savoy is now like just a maid.
For going on, because we are on the other side in the province, specifically Chifunawi constituency. After that, we contested in this previous election, which we were also in support with the UPND under the able leadership of His Excellency Mr. Akainde Ichilema. Well, we are here to state to the nation and to NDC under Opera Province as a coordinator for Opera Province. We are here to make it clear to say that we want to work with the able leader, Mr. Joseph Akafumba, our president, for the NDC.
Back to more like information that NDC had two parties. We all know NDC was just stand on its one by the president, Mr. Akafumba. But on the other hand, I stand as a council chairperson in Chifunawi. And the reason why I stand in Chifunawi under NDC ticket to Madam Savoy is because I was misled.
The Secondary School Teachers Union of Zambia, SESTUS, has today signed a memorandum of understanding with DMI St. Eugene University for the Teacher Study Upgrades Scholarship. The MOU will run for a period of 5 years from the date of signing, is renewable, will offer 25 scholarship and to all members of SESTUS by the said university. Speaking at the signing ceremony, SESTUS General Secretary Sitiwekiso Wamoyua says the scholarship answers the question to how teachers can be motivated with special incentives to fill the gap in areas that are lacking in the education sector. And DMI St. Eugene University Council President Dr. Thompson Anat said the partnership with SESTUS is in order for further upgrades of the teachers' qualifications such as certificate, undergraduate, postgraduate and doctorate courses in education, humanities, social sciences, science and other related subjects. We have more in this report.
The Vision 2030 underlines the importance of education as a critical prerequisite in the attainment of the various developmental goals in the plan. To achieve this goal, a number of interventions and incentives should be put in place to motivate the various stakeholders, especially the educators. It is therefore in that same vein that the Secondary School Teachers Union of Zambia, ZESTUS, and DMI St. Eugene University have signed a memorandum of understanding which will see teachers access education programs at a 25% discount. Speaking at the ceremony, General Education Permanent Secretary Jobix Kalumba, represented by Assistant Director for Standards James Chomba, has commended the union for facilitating for such a program.
Even further, I would like to underscore the commitment of the new government to eradicate all barriers that hinder the progress of our learners from the lowest level of ECE all the way up to tertiary education. And I'm aware that the MOU has a package that allows for discount in terms of tuition fees. That definitely is a relief and will be a relief to many of the teachers who are so pressed with several other competing financial demands.
Speaking at the same event, ZESTUS General Secretary Stubekiso Wamuyuwa says the initiative will enable more teachers upgrade their qualification and skills to improve the education sector.
I appeal to you, my dear colleagues, my fellow teachers, take advantage of this. There is no enough to learning. Do not stop learning. You might have your master's, you might have your PhD, but how many people can boast of 5 PhDs, 5 master's degrees? There's so many. Today the world has become very competitive, academically and professionally. So it's my appeal and my challenge to you that you will be able to sensitize our colleagues, give them this information. This is not a story, it is a reality. They should be able to take advantage of it. So my dear colleagues, my fellow teachers, peers, DMI, I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity, and we only hope that it will succeed when all of us support it.
And DMI St. Eugene President Thompson Anati says the partnership between the university and teacher unions is a logical way to grow the sector by extending education to educators.
Therefore, this partnership with the Secondary School Teachers Union is for further upgrading the teachers' qualification. As such, the university will offer various certificates, diplomas, undergraduate, postgraduate, and doctorate courses in education, humanities, social science, STEM, and other related subjects. This partnership between DMI and Secondary School Teachers Union of Zambia endeavors is also to provide especially designed courses and can be extended to various areas of research and consultancy wherever we both can work together.
The MOU is said to be for a period of 5 years from the date of signing and is renewable to offer 25% scholarship to all members of the ZESTUS by the said university. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
It's your time to celebrate the August 2021 Back to School with Butter Toffees. Visit your nearest butter outlet countrywide, purchase a pair of genuine leather butter toffees and get a free special edition of butter branded spiral notebook for every purchase. Remember, promotion runs from the 19th of August to the 19th of September 2021. Hurry while stocks last. Butter Toffees, made strong to last long. T's and C's apply.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide.
For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
At Master Signs, our services range from outdoor, indoor signage such as billboards, banners, 3D light boxes, pylons and neon signs. We are located at plot number 397A, Makeni Road, Lusaka, at Oryx Filling Station. For more details, call us on +260 967 100 090 or +260 966 999 981, or better still, email us at infomastersign@gmail.com. Master Sign, we will make it shine.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue The Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Pondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN 096 296 5883. For Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. More than 35 parliamentary election petitions have so far been filed in the Lusaka High Court. The petitioners are claiming that the elections in the selected constituencies involved vote buying, corruption, attacks, and therefore they were not free and fair. The petitioners, who are majority UPND losing candidates and few independent candidates, are seeking that the court orders that ballot papers relating to respective constituencies' parliamentary elections be scrutinized, verified, and recounted. Meanwhile, the court is expected to hear and deliver judgment within 90 days after 14 days of filing in parliamentary petitions. We have more in this report.
By Friday afternoon, the 27th of August 2021, the Lusaka High Court was already flooded with more than 35 parliamentary elections petitions. Candidates across the political divide, majority being UPND candidates and few independent candidates, have taken their cases to the Lusaka High Court seeking a reversal of their losses. Among those being petitioned is former General Education Minister David Maumba, who got 15,131 votes against his challenger, independent candidate Kaputa Chisakula, who scooped 163 votes. Others petitioned are former Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo and former Lusaka Mayor Mao Sampa. The losing candidates allege that the winners were involved in various forms of malpractices, bribery, corruption, and violence. The petitioners are now seeking that the court orders that the ballot papers relating to the respective constituencies' parliamentary elections be scrutinized, verified, and recounted. During the 2016 general elections, the Lusaka High Court had about 29 petitions, while in 2011 general elections, there were over 50 parliamentary petitions. It seems the number of petitions keep increasing, and by Monday, probably more than 40 petitions would have been filed. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Two men of Lusaka have pleaded not guilty to obtaining 90,000 kwacha by falsely pretending that the money was meant to buy election materials for former President Edgar Lungu. This is in a case Xavier Mkuka, 42, an information and technology specialist, and Mukwenya Banda, 42, a businessman, both of Lusaka, are charged with obtaining money by false pretenses. It is alleged that between October 1, 2019 and April 16, 2020, Mukuka and Mukwenya, while acting with others, obtained 47,000 United States dollars and 90,000 kwacha cash from Ilyas Patel by falsely pretending that they were employees from State House assigned to purchase bicycles and other election materials for the Republican president, when in fact not. When the case came up Friday morning for plea before Lusaka magistrate Jennifer Walia, the duo pleaded not guilty. The matter comes up on the 6th of October 2021 for trial, and the accused persons are on police bond. A nutrition-based civil society organization has suggested including emergency food financing in Zambia's next national budget to ensure that issues of food insecurity are adequately dealt with in the country under the new government. Civil Society for Scaling Up Nutrition CSO San Country Coordinator Mr. Matthews Muhuru, speaking to Camnet News, has cited various instances the country had become food insecure, such as in 2019 when some citizens were driven to eating wild roots for food due to food insecurity arising from maize crops that were dried up due to climate change. He states that while citizens were given portions of food, it was not adequate, hence the need to include adequate food financing in the budget to ensure that citizens are food secure all year round.
One of the things that we've noticed is the fact that, over time, Zambia has been performing very, very poorly in East and Southern Africa when it comes to nutrition financing. So food and nutrition security is really key. So we've had, in the last 2-3 years, been having a huge population of about maybe 15 to 20% of the population being very, very food insecure because of, a number of challenges, including climate shocks and all, but would want the new government, which is the UPND government, to really focus on, financing the area of food and nutrition security. In the past, we've seen the previous governments and the outgoing government, focusing so much on financing maize production and fertilizers, which has not really been very sustainable, because if you look at maize support by government, it was too heavy to a point whereby dietary needs of the people could not be met.
Residents of Baoleni compound in Lusaka have called on members of the public to continue taking precautions that curb COVID-19 despite the reduction in the number of deaths recorded in the past weeks. In an interview with Camnet TV, the residents say people should still adhere to the 5 golden rules given by the Ministry of Health in order to combat the pandemic. We have more in the following report.
The reduction in positivity of COVID-19 in the past days has made residents of Baoleng constituency have mixed emotions, where some say it is good that the cases have reduced, while others say people will become more relaxed when it comes to following the regulations put in place by Ministry of Health to combat COVID-19. Despite the progressive picture, the Ministry of Health is mindful of a potential 4th wave towards the end of the year into 2022 and will continue investing in prevention. Here are some of the residents interviewed by Camnet News that have expressed happiness over COVID-19 cases going down.
Njovu munga umetimbelera nkani ya matenda iyi apa munga yabwirako pansi chifukwa madezi akumbuyo tenze kumvera inzi panimpa mwamba, but these days kumveka ko atristiko, so munga pankani munga ya vaccinated ichape bwino munga kuzichingiriza pankani matenda chifukwa chakwe bati tinkhadi chitinkhala free paliponse pemetienda apa kuli bwino, but still tinachika kufika kwa chakwe bati tiopo kumana ndo estizo kuno bwino, but these days atristiko apa kuliko bwino.
Son and the people following maybe my procedures, you just have to do what is needed. Mask up, sanitize always, and I'm sure we are going to improve.
A maize seller says her business has been encountering profit because of the reduction.
Sinaweza ukulisa pamene konza likolona. Makastoma wenzoenda tikuli coronavirus moshoka midisi. Manje hapa tukulisa. Yafikira mulungu.
The public should note that the COVID-19 public health guidelines have not been changed. The 5 golden rules remain the bedrock of efforts to curb COVID-19. Blessings Takwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
St. Lawrence Home of Hope has called on the public not to look down on street kids, but rather help them, adding that the institution will continue to reintegrate vulnerable children from the streets. In an interview with Camnet News, Father Jacek Rakowski says every child deserves to be reunited with their respective families, hence asking the general public to assist in any way possible. More in the following report.
St. Lawrence Home of Hope, established in 1998, is a home for neglected and abused children who require love, care, protection, and therapeutic intervention and development. With its objective, which is to rehabilitate a new home and a new start for the children, and a halfway home where they reintegrate the children back to their families. In an interview with Camnet News and representing the institution, Father Jacek Rakowski says the institution will continue to help out hundreds of vulnerable children.
Placement facility, we don't really have quotas on how many children we receive. It's depending on the need. If there is need and the child has to be placed, then we agree and then we take it from there. On average, we have 7 new children every month that we receive. The way we come in contact with children there are different ways. We keep running our own outreach, street outreach program, where we maintain a relationship with children and try to remove them, withdraw them from the street.
He says they will always help regain their childhood, confidence, dreams, and hope for the future.
Same year, 58 children were reintegrated back with their families. So the reintegration process is complicated and it's very individualized. It depends on the particular situation of the child and his family. It can take few weeks in the case of lost children, for example, but it can take also few years when the situation requires more attention and more time.
Every child deserves a good and healthy environment to grow. Blessings Takwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We'll take another break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
It's your time to celebrate the August 2021 Back to School with Butter Toffees. Visit your nearest Butter outlet countrywide, purchase a pair of genuine leather Butter Toffees and get a free special edition of Butter branded spiral notebook for every purchase. Remember, promotion runs from the 19th of August to the 19th of September 2021. Hurry while stocks last. Butter Toffees, made strong to last long. T's and C's apply.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Pondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Make your payments through mobile money for MTN 096 296 5883, for Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
Welcome back. And in international news, people smugglers operating between Tunisia and the Italian island of Lampedusa have explained how they evade the authorities and bring migrants to Europe's shores. Ali Kakeni, one of the smugglers, said his routes are tough for the Coast Guard to navigate as they are too shallow for their motors. Over 1,000 people have died attempting to make this crossing in 2021. Footage from Sky showed migrants who made the crossing getting picked up by the Italian authorities before being transported to an overcrowded detention center. Sangera, an Ivorian migrant there, described how difficult that journey was.
People smugglers operating between Tunisia and the Italian island of Lampedusa have explained how they evade the authorities and bring migrants to Europe's shores. Some smugglers say the routes are tough for the coast guards to navigate and they're too shallow for their motors. It was so difficult for 2 days. We had no food or water and there was a pregnant woman with us. It was so difficult. The motor broke down and we had to ask for help from some fishermen who called for assistance. Over 1,000 people have died attempting to make this crossing in 2021. Another people smuggler, whose name wasn't given, seemed unconcerned about the consequences of the perilous journeys. Being a wealthy man is easy here and you can get rich overnight. You just need to take as many people as you can and not care if they die. If they die, then you can take your private boat and leave the country. I have my own routes in the sea which are very tough for the coast guards to navigate. Their motors can't move through the shallow waters, but we can. Now the coast guards are improving and they're using helicopters, but they can't do anything to us. One of the hardest times for me was when I was caught 18 miles off the coast with the 21 migrants. I poured fuel on their boats and my boat, and I took a lighter and threatened them. So they were worried about what I could do, so they let me go. Chamsedin Mazou, Gubar smugglers who don't survive the journey across Europe, explained how he occasionally see women and children. Sometimes we saw women and kids. I remember a time when we found 2 washed up bodies, a woman and a baby. She was hugging him, so we buried them next to each other. We couldn't separate them. Both Lampedusa and the coast of Tunisia are littered with wrecked boats used by migrants. The boats continue to arrive despite the efforts of authorities to pursue the smugglers.
Gunmen in Nigeria on Thursday freed the remainder of the more than 100 pupils they kidnapped from an Islamic school in Niger State nearly 3 months ago. The head of the school and a parent confirmed their release on Thursday. Heavily armed criminals snatched 136 pupils from the seminary in Tegina on May 30th in one of a series of mass abductions targeting schools and colleges in Nigeria since December. 6 of the pupils died in captivity and a further 15 escaped in June, according to officials. One of the parents, Fati Abdullahi, whose 18-year-old daughter and 15-year-old son were among the captives, confirmed the pupils were free. Northwest and central Nigeria have seen a surge in attacks, looting and mass abductions by criminal gangs known locally as bandits. The gangs have increasingly targeted school children whose freedom they exchange for money. Security forces, distracted and stretched thin by a militant insurgency in the northeast, have struggled to stop the gangs. Malian authorities on Thursday arrested former Prime Minister Soumeilou Boubeye Maïga over a case of fraud, his lawyer said. Maïga served as premier between 2017 and 2019 under President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. The fraud allegations stem from the purchase of a presidential jet in 2014. The country's Auditor General said the process was riddled with overbilling, embezzlement of public funds, fraud, influence peddling and favoritism. At the time, Maïga served as defense minister. The plane cost nearly $32 million. Boare Fili Sissoko, the finance minister at the time the jet was bought, was charged and transferred to the women's prison in Bamako on Thursday. Maïga remains an influential figure in Malian politics, and there were reports he would bid for the presidency in the elections expected to mark a return to civilian rule next February.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news, the Football Association of Zambia has announced that the Ministry of Health has given a green light to have fans at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium for the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifier between Zambia and Tunisia. First General Secretary Adrian Kashala says the ministry has granted permission for 20,000 fans to watch the game. Kashala has stated that this will happen with the fans subjecting to strict adherence to COVID-19 guidelines. He says the 50,000 capacity Levi Mwanawasa Stadium in Ndola will host the FIFA World Cup qualifier between Zambia and Tunisia that will take place on the 7th of September 2021. For that note, we come to the end of the news, but we take a look at the headlines once more. No Finance Minister SITUMBEKO MUSOKOTWANE to chip in US dollar on the Zambian market. Refugees living in CHIBOLYA compound call for repatriation. Over 35 parliamentary election petitions filed in the Lusaka High Court. In international news, the people smuggling business on the rise despite obvious dangers in Tunisia. In sports news, 20,000 fans to attend Zambia vs Tunisia World Cup qualifier. We now look at the Camnet World Verse for the day, coming from Matthew 7 verse 8 to 9, and it reads, "For everyone who asks receives, and the one who searches finds, and to the one who knocks the door will be opened. What man among you, if his son asks him for bread, will give him a stone?" That's it. Thanks for watching Camnet TV Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.